Deputy Attorney General has reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney asking for a new interview.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think it's something that sounds appropriate to do, yeah.
Do you have any concern that your Deputy Attorney General, as your former attorney, would be conducting the interview, given...
No, I have no concern. He's a very talented person. He's very smart. I didn't know that they were going to do it. I don't really follow that too much. It's sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt.
Got some breaking news here at the Katie Phang News Channel. The House Oversight Committee has now voted to approve a subpoena for deposition for Ghislaine Maxwell. Tennessee Republican Tim Burchett filing the motion to get the votes to be able to get Ghislaine Maxwell in for a deposition. The House Oversight Committee saying that it supported it. Now, the committee will seek to subpoena Ms. Maxwell as expeditiously as possible. This is according to a committee aide in a statement. Since Ms. Maxwell is in federal prison, the committee will work with the Department of Justice and Bureau of Prisons to identify a date when committee can depose her. Now, this is happening in real time. And this is happening as Republicans and Democrats continue to push for what Trump claims is transparency when it comes to the Epstein files, but what you and I both know he really doesn't want Americans to see. But in a really bizarre and yet maybe incredibly calculated move, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, announcing on social media that he intends to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, quote, in the coming weeks. Now let's check out the actual statement that was released by Todd Blanche and let's break it down. So, Blanche posting the following. The Department of Justice does not shy away from uncomfortable truths, nor from the responsibility to pursue justice wherever the facts may lead. The joint statement by the DOJ and FBI of July 6 remains as accurate today as it was when it was written. Namely, that in the recent thorough review of the files maintained by the FBI in the Epstein case, no evidence was uncovered that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Fast forward. At the direction of Attorney General Bondi, I've communicated with counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell in the coming days. Until now, no administration on behalf of the department had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. That changes now. Okay. Justice demands courage. Bro wants some type of award here. For the first time, the Department of Justice is reaching out to Ghislaine Maxwell to ask, what do you know? I intend to meet with her soon. No one is above the law and no lead is off limits. I'm telling you, does this asshat think that he's wearing some freaking superhero cape here? So let's talk about why no prior administration, if that is true, which I don't even know if that's true, that no prior administration has reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell yet. Let's just talk about the reality and let's do it through the legal lens because Todd Blanche needs to be reminded that he may have legal training, but he sucks as a lawyer. So does Pamela Joe. But we knew that. Okay. Prior administrations prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Should have prosecuted others, but that's a whole other cup of tea. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell having been prosecuted by prior administrations means those administrations, departments of justice, may have asked Epstein and Maxwell, I assume they did, do you have any information that could implicate others? I sincerely doubt that the Epstein conversation went very far. It probably was, can you implicate others? And when Epstein said no, I mean, he really is one of the biggest fish, if not the biggest fish in this scheme, right? Ghislaine Maxwell is different. I'll give people this much, right? Ghislaine Maxwell is different because she is a co-conspirator and somebody who facilitated all of these horrific crimes. She really would be in the position to be able to narc on other people, the uncharged third parties that should have been charged. But Ghislaine Maxwell, through her own calculations, has chosen not to be a cooperator with the government. Likely in large part that whatever deal was being offered by the Department of Justice at the time was not palatable enough for her, because the reality is her hands are just as fucking unclean as Jeffrey Epstein. She wasn't just some type of quiet participant in this. She wasn't somebody who was coerced into participating in any of this. She was an active freaking co-conspirator and participant, so her hands are just as dirty as Jeffrey Epstein. So likely, and again, this is just speculation on my part, let me be very clear, but as a former prosecutor, I'll tell you that whatever I had to offer Ghislaine Maxwell was probably not what she wanted. And that'll become relevant in a few minutes when we talk about Todd Blanche. But yeah, so administrations approaching her, maybe even Epstein, it's happened. I don't think it's true when Blanche says no administration has inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. I find that really hard to believe. But maybe it's true to the extent that prior departments of justice determined that her culpability was so profound and that it matched Jeffrey Epstein's that it literally wasn't worth asking her. Or maybe they did and she said no. Look, I don't know what to tell you, but she obviously ended up going to trial, which was her constitutional right to do so. She was found guilty by a jury of her peers. She was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. Her sentence and her convictions were appealed to a circuit court of appeals. It was affirmed, meaning that appellate court, this federal appellate court, looked at the claims that she raised and said, you know what, there's nothing there. So we're going to affirm your convictions and your sentence. And now she's in this holding pattern, right? We've talked about it here at the Katie Phang News Channel. She has asked for the United States Supreme Court to take her appeal. And remember, the Supreme Court has to agree to take an appeal. They can't just summarily take the appeal. And so Ghislaine Maxwell has this whole kind of thing, take my appeal, listen to my appeal, and there's been all this stuff going back and forth. And the Trump DOJ, on record, has opposed the relief that she has sought. So now the Trump DOJ is on record going to go and meet with Ghislaine Maxwell. So a lawyer for the opposing party in your criminal case is going to approach you. What in the world do you think that Todd Blanche has to be able to say to Ghislaine Maxwell? Pardon. Sounds kind of outlandish, maybe outrageous, but feasible. We've seen Donald Trump pardon January 6th insurrectionists. We've seen him pardon founder of the Silk Road. We've seen him pardon some fraudsters. We've seen him pardon some of the worst of the worst. So you really think a Ghislaine Maxwell pardon offer is really so wild? It's a presidential privilege to be able to do a pardon. It's within his purview and his role and his capacity as the president of the United States to do it. Do I think Blanche is coming with an actual pardon to her right now? No. Do I think Blanche is going to ask her, would you be willing to talk? What do you have to say? I mean, here's the crazy shit though, right? If you really stop and you think about it, how is it possible that the Deputy Attorney General of the United States of America doesn't know what Ghislaine Maxwell has to say? I mean, within reason, of course, I'm sure she's keeping secrets, right? But according to Pamela Joe and Todd Blanche and Kash Patel and Dan Bingo Boingo Bongino, they have looked through, they've scoured their extensive review, their exhaustive review. All of that means that you already don't have a pretty good damn idea about the universe of information that Ghislaine Maxwell knows. So if that's the case, then you go to Ghislaine Maxwell, and what's the value of that conversation? Let's play it out. Again, pure speculation, that's a caveat here. Ghislaine, if you will come forward and publicly downplay and or minimize, both maybe, downplay and minimize Donald Trump's involvement in the Epstein universe and world, more so than what is already publicly known about flying on the jets repeatedly and repeated contact and the photographs and the parties and the birthday card and all this other stuff. In exchange for that, but in exchange for you upplaying, is that a word? Amplifying Bill Clinton, other Democrats, etc. Wink, 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 wink. There might be a way to reduce your sentence, mitigate your sentence, get rid of your sentence, commute your sentence. A pardon is not a commutation. A commutation's different. Conviction still stands, a sentence gone. I mean, there is a lot of stuff that's going on here. And in full disclosure, I will put this out here. I know the criminal defense attorney who represents Ghislaine Maxwell. I know him very well. He's one of the best criminal defense attorneys I know. He's an incredibly ethical guy, but he is not his client, right? So no matter how ethical and amazing her lawyer is, it's ultimately up to her to decide what she's going to do. And the inescapable kind of uncontroverted evidence against her is damning. It's bad. I got to tell you, the involvement of the Department of Justice right now is gross. It's called the Department of Justice for a reason. These conversations, plural, with Ghislaine Maxwell are an insult to the victims and the vulnerable that have had their lives traumatized and now re-traumatized courtesy of all of the stuff that is happening with these Epstein files. I will also say this. There is a huge tell going on here that it's Todd Blanche and not Pamela Jo Bondi that is doing this. Huge tell. It goes to show that Pamela Jo has lost her credibility in MAGA land. I don't care how public it may seem that Donald Trump has come down on the side or in support of Pamela Jo. The fact that it's not her that is going to do this as the Attorney General of the United States, after making representations, remember, we walked through this yesterday on the Katie Phang News Channel. When we look at the motion to unseal, the representations made in this motion after the exhaustive review and now the extensive public interest in these files, they talk about how Jeffrey Epstein is the most infamous pedophile in American history, and the facts surrounding Epstein's case tell a tale of national disgrace. So why is it that the Attorney General of the United States, the nation's top cop, Pamela Jo, is not herself handling something as delicate and profound and major as a sit-down meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell? Why is it Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General in this case? It's because Bondi has lost her credibility with MAGA. MAGA's mad at her. And because MAGA's mad, Donald Trump does not want Pamela Jo to be the mouthpiece that filters information that comes from this meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. He does not want her to be the public forward-facing face of whatever comes out of this conversation with Ghislaine Maxwell. So he's deputizing, all puns intended, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche. And Todd going into this is interesting because Todd is now the next in line in the firing squad, right? Because Emil Bove is a dirty bird, and we already know all of his damaged goods drama, even if he does maybe eventually make it to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. Pamela Jo, super damaged goods, been damaged goods, not aging well either. And she is definitely not going to be somebody who's going to be able to deliver the goods. So now Todd Blanche is a sacrificial lamb for this. The DOJ has no business sitting down with Ghislaine Maxwell. Sorry, it's the truth. And the fact that now you have House Republicans on Oversight, putting aside the drama of the fact that they're trying to skip town right now so that they don't have to deal with Epstein-related motions and stuff that are being kind of advanced, you still have some of these dogged Republicans, which again, politics makes strange bedfellows, doesn't it? That we're rooting for these Republicans to be like, oh, hell yeah, bring these people in. Bring her in for a depo. See what she has to say. But let's talk about the legal ramifications and the realities. She does not have to say jack. You think Ghislaine Maxwell is going to appear for a deposition before House Oversight and implicate herself in any way? Get out of here. Dum. I mean, listen, I think it's great. Mike, kudos to you, Burchett, and others for voting on this. But you know what? She's not going to implicate herself. She's appealing her convictions and sentence. You think she's now going to roll into Congress and be like, I totally did all of this and then some. And let me tell you all the people that were doing it with me. Stop the insanity. Oh, wait, that's a Jillian Michaels thing, right? And we don't like her because she's fucking gone full MAGA. Stop the stupidity. I'll just say that. Stop the stupidity. It's just like the grand jury records unsealing. It's just like this Todd Blanche meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. Look, we're never going to implicate ourselves in a way, if we're criminal defendants, that's going to sit there and just do the pile-on. And we're going to have a whole other conversation on this channel about double jeopardy attaching because she's gone to trial, etc. But I think Ghislaine Maxwell is a wild card. And because she's not predictable in terms of what she's going to say and do, I think this administration is just going through these motions of acting like they're trying to aim for this transparency and to get this accountability when we all know it's just not going to happen. People share this video, share this conversation far and wide. Let people understand that America is still being gaslit by this administration to think that they're now going to be able to go to the co-conspirator that's been convicted. The co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, has been convicted and sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. And that suddenly she's going to be the key, right? She's the key to opening up this entire Pandora's box of information. I'm not saying that she doesn't have the info. I'm just saying she's never going to be the one to open that box. Let's keep our eyes on it, though. Watch this space, because we'll be letting you know what else is going on. I'll see you on the other side. Katie Phang here. We launched the Katie Phang News Channel in partnership with the Midas Touch Network so we could bring you the latest in legal and political news. Straight, no chaser. So if you're a fellow truth teller, hit that subscribe button and share the word about this channel so we can build a high information America together.